welcome back to my Pink Poodle Studio channel. Today we're going to be making these darling beaded bow earrings with the bubble beads from Jesse James Beads. This is a technique that I created to make little bows on jewelry pieces. I was always looking for bows that were like spacer beads and stuff, but the ones that I was finding, yes, I can talk. The ones I was finding weren't very cute. So I figured it out, you know, on how to make my own, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So if you want to see how to make these really cute bead bubble earrings with bows, stick around. Okay guys, so first I want to get you what you need here for your project. I don't know if I pulled out my, yeah, there we go. You really don't need a lot of tools, but you're going to need your nylon gel pliers, flush cutters, chain nose pliers, and I use a bell making plier, but you can also use a round nose plier. You're also going to need 2 bubble beads. You're going to need, these are 2 Jesse James beads here, these triangle ones. 2 6mm check glass if you want to make them exactly the way that I've made them. And these are 3mm check glass, 4 3mm check glass. You're going to need 2 8-inch pieces of 24 gauge wire and 2 4.5-inch pieces of 20 gauge wire. Before we get started, I wanted to show you these cute, there's not enough of it to do a haul video, but I got these really cute Santa's Workshop beads from Jesse James Beads today, and I wanted to share them with you. This would be a good mix to get if you want to make the bubble bead bow earrings. There's a lot of choices for beads and for bubbles and stuff in here for bubble beads. So this is the design mix. And then I got the strand also of Santa's Workshop, which I can't help it. I'm a strand fanatic. That's where I started with Jesse James, and that's where my heart lies. But I really was excited to see this strand, and this is going to be mine. This might be mine too, just saying. But anyway, guys, let's get started on our cute little bows. So basically, I cut a 4.5-inch piece of wire. This is going to be more than enough than what we're going to need. I've made these a bunch of times, but I'm going to tell you, it's still not a perfect thing for me, but I'm going to explain it to you the best I can. So you're going to go about 1/3 of the way down on the wire to start with, and you're going to place your bell making plier. I'm using the small side of the bell making plier because I like my loops smaller, but you can do any size loops that you want. And if you want to make bigger bows, you can just use more like a 5.5-inch piece of wire to give yourself a little bit more room to groove there. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to hold your 20 gauge wire, and you're going to wrap it around the bail. Rotate your pliers, keep wrapping, rotate your pliers, keep wrapping. Then what I do is I take them out, reposition them above the other piece of wire, and then wrap again. I like 2 wraps around all my bows. So basically what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to make sure that on your loop, the excess wire falls down from the inside. That is what I found looks the cutest when you put the little swirls on them, on the ends. It's coming from the inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pliers out. We're going to take our round nose pliers and position them back on the wire right next to the first loop. Just trying to think. I want to make sure, yes. And we're going to wind toward the other loop to make our circles. So, circle, rotate, circle, rotate. Again, take your pliers out or maneuver them so you can keep making your circles. So you can get 2 rounds and then stop when you get back to the center. Okay, guys, so that's what we have so far. We can straighten that out a little bit, but that gives you the idea. So let's make another one, and then we're going to do the loops on the bottom. I'll show you those. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to cut these wires evenly. So when I'm ready to go back and make my little swirls, I'm ready. And I know how much then on the length I want on my other bow. I'm just going to straighten this out too while I'm at it. And remember, it's wire. So you can pretty much make it do what you want it to do. And that's the one nice thing about working with wire. Well, many nice things, I guess. I love working with wire, but there's our first bow. Okay, so same thing. We're going to go a third of the way down on the wire, approximately. Right there. And we're going to wind around, rotate, wind, rotate. Pull out the pliers, bring it up on top of that long wire when you put it back through the loop, okay? You can see that. And we're going to continue winding. Oh, wrong wire. We don't want to do that. Keep with our short wire. And there you go. You have 2 loops around and you have your little wire left in the center. So again, we're going to come back, remove our pliers out, and we're going to place it right next to that other loop. And we're going to wind toward the other loop with the long wire. So we're going to do a circle, rotate, come on, rotate. And you're going to have to maneuver your pliers to get back around. Oops, sorry guys, I'm not in frame there. And just keep rotating until you get 2 times around and your excess wire comes down in the middle. So I can see here on this one side, whoop, it's a little shorter than I like, but I'll make it work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the other wire, approximately that length, pick up my other one, put them right on top of each other, and I'm going to make sure all of the ends are cut approximately the same length, so when I make my swirls, they match. So I really don't have to take a whole lot off here, but see here, not that much. And if you do see my hand shaking at any times, guys, I do apologize. I have some health issues, so sometimes they tend to shake on me at the worst times. So let's just keep moving on here. So all right, so we have our 2 little bows, and I'm gonna take and make our loops on the end, our little ribbon ends, so to speak, these little swirls. So basically what I've decided to do, I take the bow into my bow making pliers again. Again, you can do this with round nose pliers. That would work just as well. But when you're making it, you want to grab your first wire, you want to have your bow out to the left-hand side, and you want to roll your bow making plier, reposition, roll, reposition, the same kind of concept. And as you're doing that, you're going to put the wire right underneath the first wire. And you're just going to kind of layer them on top of each other. I hope you can see this. It's hard to see as tiny as it is. But this is going to give us a little short little swirl, but that's okay. Don't be like me and only leave that much wire. But that shows you they're kind of stacked on top of each other. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to roll out this way to the outside of the bow. Same thing. Just roll, reposition, roll, reposition, and you're layering them one on top of the other. And they do look cuter if you have a little bit more wire to work with at the end. Like I said, that was my mistake, but you know, do as I say, not as I do, I guess. That old adage. But so there I have my little loops, and again, you know, it's wire. You can fuss with it, you can move it around, do whatever you need to do. And then all I do is I take my flat nose pliers, my chain nose pliers, I mean, and I kind of twist it and then pull it out a little bit, just to give it a little bit of flow. You can see that one end is kind of sticking out. I'm going to see if I can kind of flatten that down. Get that rounded out, I mean. To get it back inside. There we go. So there's like a little ribbon end. And it's super hard to see, guys, because it's so tiny. And then the same thing here. I'm going to take my chain nose plier in. I'm going to pull this out just a little bit, just to kind of twist it flat and then pull it out. See, just like that. Now, if you see these little ends sticking out, of course, we don't want anyone to get poked. So you're going to want to flatten those out, get those trimmed off with your pliers, and then come back in and kind of tuck them in so you don't catch anybody's hair or cause any problems that way. But I just kind of mess with it till it gets tucked in there, and then you have a cute little bow. And again, I know these are tiny, guys, but that's just kind of what I like. But again, you can make them any size you want. So, ooh, sorry guys. Same thing here. We're going to roll in. And it looks to me like I left these wires a little longer. But remember, guys, the goal isn't perfection. It's having fun. It's enjoying what you're doing. That's the main priority of this, as far as I'm concerned anyway, of making jewelry. And if you can sell some pieces along the way, why do it? That's what makes it fun, is just enjoying it and not worrying about complete perfection. So we're just rolling like we did before toward the inside of the bow. Kind of spread those out a little bit. And again, we're just going to twist them. Put this back in here. And don't be afraid to go back and forth between your tools if need be. So I'm basically going to twist that so it's sticking up and down. Same thing here. You can do it with your round nose or with your bell making or with your whatever you have. And then we flatten those out. And then we're going to pull them down a little bit. So basically, once you have this part done, again, we're going to trim our ends a little bit. And then kind of tuck them in. So at this point, you want to open up the bottom of your bow where your quote unquote ribbon ends are. Excuse me, guys, drop that. You want to open that up. And I kind of flatten the bow down and pull the ends out. And you can go back and adjust these. These certainly aren't the best ones I've ever made. But, I can go back in, and if I need to roll it some more, I can certainly do that. Do some more rolls on it just to kind of make it look a little more flowy. Yeah, so that gives you the idea. There's your little bow. And so now this is where our 24 gauge wire comes into play. How I open the bottom out here, because I need to be able to get in between the bow up there and make sure there's a little bit of space between your two circles. So I'm going to take this 24 gauge wire, and again, I said, I believe I cut an 8-inch piece. This is probably way more than you need, but I'd rather have you have more than you need than not enough. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this wire across the center of the bow, and I'm going to use the top wire, and I'm going to make 2 wraps with the end pointing up, ending with the end pointing up. Then I'm going to take the other strand of wire, and I'm also going to give 2 wraps around the center of the bow. Now you want to hold on to this part at the top while you're doing that so you don't get it all confused and messed up. And that was a challenge for me when I was first doing this. But same thing, you're just doing 2 wraps around the center. Okay, guys? So you want to pull those nice and tight and bring your pliers in even and just give a nice snug on either end. You want it to be wrapped nice and tight around the center of that. I'm going to grab 2 pairs here actually and do this. You don't want to go too crazy with pulling it, but just kind of make sure everything's pulled snug. Okay. Once you get that, then I just take my wire straighteners back in and straighten everything back out. Okay. So we have that so far. Okay. And I'm going to do the other one here for you so you can see it again. About a third of the way down, you're going to take the top wire and wrap it around twice. And then take the bottom wire and wrap it around the middle of the bow twice. And when these are so teeny tiny, I'm not going to lie to you, it takes some maneuvering. But I'm sure you can do it and get used to it like I did. It took me quite a while to work out the schematics on this, but we got it. So again, I'm straightening these out. So now you can look at this and you can see, okay, well now I have wire coming out either ends, so I can build my earring now. So it's as simple as that. And what I've learned, if you take the little 3mm or a tiny bead and you put it on first and put it in behind the bow, it makes things set much nicer. It just kind of holds that bow out a little bit, keeps it in place, and see, you have your 3mm just kind of partially behind that bow. Okay. And then I just take a 6mm check glass fire polish. That's up to you on your choice of beads, but this is just giving you kind of stepping off point, our Jesse James bead, and another 3mm fire polish. As simple as that. Now it's just like beading, guys. Okay, so now we're going to do a wrap loop. You're going to hold your wire, bend it sideways, pull in your round nose, or use your bell making. It's up to you. But I'm going to use my bell making plier because to keep all the loops the same consistency. Bend it at a 90-degree angle. Now I'm going to bring that over the top. Rotate my pliers. Bring my wire across. See, we have a loop there. Then I'm going to hold my loop with my chain nose plier, and I'm going to proceed to wrap my wire around. Now keep in mind, if you leave more wire at the top, you can do where you just wrap the whole way down the beads, and that looks really pretty too, if you encapsulate the beads with some wire. But right now, this is what we're going to do. So you're just making a wrap loop, and then you're just going to snip the end of that. Push that in. Come on. There we go. We're going to flatten that out so again, nobody gets any pokey parts. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the bottom. I didn't put any beads on. Oh, yes, I did. I put 2 fire polish on there. I apologize. So we're going to have to find another 6mm fire polish, which I do believe I have. Yes. So you're actually going to need 4 6mm fire polish. Sorry about that, guys. You put your other fire polish on. And again, this is completely up to you how you want to design this from the bow making part. Okay. So then we're just going to put the bead on and do another loop. Another wrap loop. But we're going to... Now, I hook my bubble bead right into my loop. When I make it, I get it this far. And then I just open my loop, put on my bubble bead. There you go. But you can also just hook it in with a jump ring if you prefer the look of that better. That's completely your choice. So then I'm going to hold my loop, just do my wrap loop again. I like to make this a little bit fuller. But like I was saying, you can wrap. You can do your wire work however you see fit, whatever you enjoy. And I just made it so everything's nice and snug here at the top. The bows, we're going to adjust those bottoms just a little bit here so we can give that bead a little bit more room. So I'm going to push them both out just a smidge more. And, you know, guys, I used 20 4-gauge wire to wrap around. That's what I found worked best. But if you think your fingers can take it, by all means, you can try 22. But see, what I did by spreading those little ribbon ends out, I was able to get the bead tight up against that bow, and I can then continue my wrap to kind of secure everything nice. Okay, I think that's good. Maybe we'll do one more loop. Okay. So now we're going to trim that end. And that's it. Put our little ear wires on. Squish that piece down. Squish, it's a technical term, you know. And I'm just going to grab some ear wires. And I just use little simple. Well, that one's bent to heck and back. We don't want that one. I do make my own ear wires as well. I don't use them all the time, but that's something to be said for a pre-made ear wire sometimes. Okay, so let's put our little ear wires on this earring, and then we'll go on to our next one. Little ear wire. Wires. But so guys, that's it. I mean, you can straighten it out, mess with your little ends, stuff like that, but that's the basic earring right there. So let's put this on our ear wire, and I'll show you one more time just to make sure that you've got it. Again. Okay, there's that one. Same thing on this side. 3mm. It's the back, so when I face it toward the front. 3mm, 6mm, Jesse James bead, and 3mm. And we're going to do our loop. Put our chain nose in, do our 90-degree turn. Put our round nose or our bell-making pliers in. Over the top. Rotate. Over the side. I like to grab mine with my chain nose again to wrap. And then you're just going to wrap around. And again, I like to kind of use a good portion of my wire to give it. I'm not one of those people that everything has to be incredibly neat and perfect, and I like things to look, my items to look handmade. Sorry, I bumped the camera there, guys. Bring that just around the back. We got the top down there. Trim it. Tuck that end in. I want to say, yes, okay. So then we have our other 6mm check glass on the bottom. And you can see I just took my fingers there and straightened that wire out. And with the 24 gauge, you can certainly do that. Whoop! My fingers aren't working today, guys. There we go. Again, I'm going to open these beads up, or these ribbon ends up just a smidge so I can get that bead in there against the bow. Then we're going to do a bend with our chain nose, 90-degree angle, and we're going to make our loop. Again, I apologize for the shaking, guys. It's just par for the course with me. Open the loop, slide on your bubble bead. These are like my favorite things on the planet, these bubble beads. Then I'm going to grab it with my chain nose, if I can get my pliers in there. Okay, and then do the same thing, just do our wrap the whole way up. You want things to be nice and snug. Make sure your bead's tight against there. And then I wrap down to give it a little bit more girth at the bottom. Again, this is your baby. You make it how you want to, what you like, what makes you happy and brings you joy. So I'm just going to straighten this center up here a little bit where the wires were wrapped. Okay. And then trim off the back piece of the wire. Whoops. Okay, and then we're just going to put on our earring wire, and guys, that's basically it. So let me get this on, and I will show you the finished product that we did today. There we go. So here are our little bow earrings that we made. Sorry, the light changed. It's a very dreary day here in Pennsylvania. Our little bow earrings. Adorable for Christmas. You could do these in any color. I hope you enjoy it, guys. I hope that worked out well for you and you enjoyed it, and something that you can make for gifts or just for beautiful items for yourself. So I hope you liked the video, guys. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm uploading. And I thank everyone for hanging out with me today, and have a great day, guys. Thanks. Bye.